Very good evening. Welcome back to Akshar online classes. Myself Johnson, your biology teacher. Today we will discuss about the 6th class biology. So, living things and non-living things. Living things, living organism and non-living organism. Today we can discuss about that living organism and their surroundings are living things and non-living things. Here, okay, so living things means which of the things have the life, which of the things have the life that are called living things. So, in our surroundings, what are the things have the life? That means nothing but plants, nothing but plants and animals. Okay, in our surrounding, these are the plants and animals have the life. Plants and animals have the life. So that's why these plants and animals is the examples of the living things. Okay, they have the life. Okay, so we can discuss the what are the characteristic features of the living things. Okay, non-living things. Non-living things means there is no life. There is no life. For example, okay, pen, book, okay. So next, watch, okay. Next, blackboard, 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 okay. Pencil, okay. Next, next one is the bulb. So these are the. So here only you are keeping your mind. Okay, which of the things have the life that are called living things? Examples of the living things is the plants and animals is the examples of the living thing. Which of the things do not have the life? There is no life that are called non-living things. Example, pen, book, watch, blackboard, pencil, bulb. So these are all example eraser also. Eraser also. Now we can discuss about the characteristic features of the living things. Characteristic features of the living things. Characteristic features of the living things. Okay, these are the characteristic features we can see in only in that. Okay, only we can see that plants only. Characteristic features. Characteristic features of living things. Of living things. Okay. Already we can discuss about the which of the things have the life that are called living things. Which of the things do not have the life that are called non-living things. Examples of the living things is the plants and animals is the examples of the living things. Okay. Now all the living things need food. First point is all the living things need food. Need food. Why all the living things need food? Because, okay, growth and development is the characteristic features of the living things. Okay, energy required to that. So why the living things need food? So if they are taking to that food, they can grow. If you are taking to the food, they can do that different works. Energy is the required. So morning to evening we can do the so many works. Okay, that purpose required to the food. So that means all the living things need food. So for example, plants and animals. Okay, plants also required to the food, animals also required to the food. Already you know very well, plants they can synthesize their own food. That is nothing but photosynthesis mechanism. Photosynthesis mechanism means only photosynthesis mechanism occurs only in the green plants and some of the bacteria. In this mechanism, green plants they can prepare their own food. So which of the organism they can prepare own food, that is called autotrophs. Autotrophs. So all the plants are the examples of that autotrophs. Which of the organism they can synthesize their own food, that is called autotrophic nutrition. Okay, green plants they are absorbed to the carbon dioxide from that atmosphere. They can absorb to the water from the soil in the presence of sunlight, and it is occurs in the chlorophyll. Okay, they can synthesize their own food, that is nothing but C6H12O6 plus 6H2O plus 6O2. So this is the photosynthesis equation. Okay, 6CO2 plus 12H2O gives rise sunlight and chlorophyll. C6H12O6 plus 6H2O plus 6O2. So that means carbon dioxide and water absorbed by the plants, they can synthesize their own food. Okay, so food making process in the plant is known as the photosynthesis mechanism. Here, all the living things need food. Animals. Animals are known as the heterotrophic nutrition. Heterotrophic nutrition. Heterotrophic nutrition means what? Which of the organism they cannot prepare their own food. Which of the organism they cannot prepare their own food. That organisms are known as the heterotrophs. Such type of that nutrition is called heterotrophic nutrition. Examples of the heterotrophic nutrition, all the animals, human being, cow, buffalo, horse, donkey, monkey, everything is the example. Here, my first point, plants also required to the food and animals also required to the food. But so plants they can prepare their own food, but animals they cannot prepare their own food. So that is the first point. That is the first point. Second point. Second point. Second point. Okay. So all the living organism, they can show the growth. All the living organism, all the living organism, they can show the growth. What is the meaning of the growth? Okay, growth means the permanent change of the organism is called growth. The permanent change of the organism is called growth. For example, when you are born, you are a small baby. When you are little by little, first year we can see the development, second year, third year, fourth year. Are you going to the nursery? Are you going to the first class? Are you going to the second class? Okay, every day we can see the changes. So many changes we can see. Okay, the permanent change of the organism we can see the growth. And here, very important, in the plants and animals, plants growth is the permanent. Plants growth is the permanent. In the animals, you can see the animals that growth only particular age. That means maybe some of the animals reach to that adolescence or age of 21 years stop the growth. So the characteristic features of the living things they can show the growth. Growth means permanent change of the organism is called growth. Permanent change of the organism is called growth. That the permanent plants that growth is the permanent, but in the animals generally that growth only particular period up to the 0 to 18 or 21 years in between only we can see the growth in the animal, but in the plants that growth is the permanent. Next, third point. If you see that third point, so all the living organism respire. Okay, all the living organisms respire. Respire. Respire means what is the importance of the respiration? Respiration, we are taking to the oxygen and releasing to the carbon dioxide gas is nothing but respiration. If that organism, that respiration is occurs, that energy generating system, energy releasing system, nothing but respiration. Respiration. Okay, energy. Respiration. Okay, all the living organism respirations occur. So that means, for example, we are taking to the carbon dioxide gas, and we are releasing to that. We are taking to the oxygen gas and releasing to the carbon dioxide gas. Plants taking to the carbon dioxide gas and releasing to the oxygen gas. Okay, so if you see that, okay, plants respiratory system occurs in the stomata. Stomata. Okay, stomata. Stomata. Okay, if you see that in our human being, what is the respiratory system? Respiratory organ. Lungs is the respiratory organ. If the fishes, in that fishes, that respiratory organ is the gills. Gills. Okay, if you see the frog, that respiratory organ is the gills, skin, and lungs. Next, if you see the most of that, okay, earthworm, also respiratory organ is the skin. Okay, reptiles, aves, mammals, that respiratory organ is nothing but what are that? Reptiles, aves, mammals. These are the respiratory system, respiratory organ, nothing but lungs. So, which of the organism that respiratory organ is known as the lungs? That is known as the pulmonary respiratory system. Which of the respiratory organ is the gills? That is called bronchus respiratory system. Which of the respiratory system is the skin cutaneous respiratory system? Very, very important. The largest kingdom, nothing but arthropoda. Arthropoda, that respiratory organ is the trachea. What is that? Trachea. Trachea. In that living organism respiration can occur. Next, okay, fishes respiratory organ is the gills. Okay, frog respiratory organ is the gills, skin, lungs. Okay, and reptiles, reptiles, reptiles. Okay, apes, mammals, mammals. Okay, mammals. That respiratory organ is the lungs. Okay, in that insects, nothing but arthropoda phylum. That respiratory organ is the trachea or spiracles. So gills, that respiratory system, gills is the respiratory organ that is called bronchus respiratory system. Okay, lungs respiratory system that is called pulmonary respiratory system. Okay, skin respiratory system, cutaneous respiratory system. Okay, trachea respiratory system, tracheal respiratory system. Okay, so that means respiration is the important. Okay, respiration is the important life process, that energy generating system occur through that respiration only. Next, coming to the point, next, all the living organisms, they can respond to the stimulus. Next point is the all the living organisms respond to the stimuli. Okay, stimuli. So that means, what is the meaning of the all the living organism respond to the stimuli? So that means, if that bright light is focused to me, I can close my eyes. Okay, if you are see the touch me not plant, if you see the touch me not plant, that touch me not plant respond to the stimuli. If you are touch, close it. If you are you can come out, that is open. So for example, when that roots, generally they can grow along with the gravitational force, and you can see the shoot and leaves, they can grow along with the sunlight. So that means, this is called all the living organisms like plants and animals are respond to the stimuli. This is the characteristic features of the living things. Okay, that means plants also respond to the, for example, okay, if any dust is entered, we can, so that is the response to the stimuli. Okay, so that means any bright light focused on your face, We can close your eyes. That is also response to the stimuli. So that means here all the living organisms respond to the stimuli. Respond to the stimuli. Plants and animals respond to the stimuli. Next, living organism, living organism, living organism, okay, we can see organisms, excretion, excretion can occur. What is the meaning of the excretion? Excretion means, for example, when the metabolic activities are occurring in our body, waste materials are generated. That waste material, it is to become a toxic substances, to become a poisonous substances. These toxic substances and poisonous substances within inside the body, inside the body of the organism, that is to become a very dangerous. When the metabolic activities are occur, that waste material generated, that waste material we can send outside of the body, so that we can send outside of the body nothing but excretory system. Excretory system. Okay, excretory system. That different organism they can excrete different. For example, aquatic organism excrete ammonia. Okay, so for example, aves, birds, that excretory product is the uric acid. For example, okay, so human being, what is the excretory organ? Human being excretory organ is nothing but kidney. Kidney. The structural functional unit of the excretory system is called nephron. Nephron is the, okay, the structural functional unit of the excretory system is called nephron. The excretory organ is the kidney. Access excretory organs in our human body is the, first one is the skin, okay, and second one is the lungs, okay, third one is the liver, okay, and fourth one is the large intestine. Intestine. Okay. So skin excreted, sebaceous gland and sweat gland. Sebaceous and sweat gland. These excess amount of the water and salt and okay, steroids they can send outside of the body through the skin. Lungs. That carbon dioxide is the excretory product that is sent outside of the body through the lungs. Liver. Actually, in that urea is formed in that liver. That liver we can send outside of the body through the actually red blood cells. Okay, degenerate 120 days after that they can send outside through the liver only. And large intestine. Thus, okay. That means living organism excretory system occurs in our body. Excretory system, when the metabolic activities are occurs inside the body of the organism, that waste material we can send outside of the body through the excretory system. In the human being, that excretory organ is the kidney. Okay, the structural functional unit of the kidney is the nephron. Okay, accessory excretory organ is the skin, lungs, liver, and large intestine. Skin, excess amount of the water, mineral, salt they can send outside of the body. Lungs, carbon dioxide is the excretory product they can send outside through the liver, lungs. Liver, that red blood cells lifespan is the 120 days. After 120 days they degenerate in the liver, and urea also formed in the liver only. Large intestine, the facial matter, excess amount of that water, mineral, salt and facial matter we can send outside of the body through the, okay, large intestine. Okay, so this is, for example, unicellular organism, only one cell is present, that within the one cell, unicellular organism, single cell perform to the all the functions. But in the multicellular organism, So they have made up of so many cells. So that's why multicellular organism, different organ, different functions is there. For example, heart pumping up the blood, kidney excretory organ, okay, excretory organ. For example, stomach, small intestine digest the food, okay, like brain, especially for the main important part of the nervous system. Okay, every organ you have the specific function. Okay, here one more point is very important point. All the living organisms are made up of cells. All the living organisms are made up of cell. Cell is the structural functional unit of the living organism. Cell is the fundamental unit of the living organism. Cell is the basic unit of the living organism. Cell is the building block of the living organism. These are the 4 points are very important. Cell is the structural and functional unit of the living organism. Living organism. Okay. Second point, cell is the basic unit of the living organism. Okay. Next, cell is the fundamental unit of the living organism. Okay. Cell is the body building of the organism. These are the points are very important. Okay. Cell is the structural and functional unit of the living organism. Cell is the basic unit of the living organism. Cell is the fundamental unit of the living organism. Cell is the body building of the living organism. Okay. So cell was discovered by that all the living organisms like plants and animals are made up of cell. Cell was discovered by the Robert Hooke. Okay, that is keep in your mind. Okay, so excretory system occurs in that only we can see in the plants and animals. Next, so next point is all the living organism, all the living organisms, they can move. Why the living organism they can move? What is the need of movement? Okay, for example, I can move one place to the another place. What is the need of movement? So, every living organism they can move because of the food purpose, okay, shelter purpose, okay. Third one is the breeding purpose. Breeding means nothing but reproduction. So that means if you are see the plants and animals, plants and animals, these are living things. These are the living things. They can move to the one place to the another place because of the food purpose, because of the shelter purpose, because of the reproduction purpose. Okay, so plants fixed to the soil. Plants are fixed to the soil. Plants cannot move one place to the another place. Already characteristic features of the plant. Plants, autotrophic nutrition. Plants have the cell wall, outermost layer is the cell wall. Plants, okay, plastids are present. Plants, okay, plastids are present. Autotrophic nutrition, that growth is the permanent in that plants. Okay, plants are fixed to the soil, but animals only they can move to the one place to the another place because of the food purpose, shelter purpose, and breeding or reproduction purpose. That is keep in our mind. Next, okay, next one, last but not least, okay, reproduction. So, all the living organisms they can show to the reproduction. Okay, reproduction, reproduction. All the living organisms that characteristic feature is the reproduction. Reproduction we can see in that, especially for the plants and animals. Okay, so what is the meaning of the reproduction? What is the meaning of the reproduction? Reproduction means the ability of the organism to produce new individual of the same species is called reproduction. What is the need of reproduction? What is the use of reproduction? Why the organism participate in the reproduction? Because every organism, okay, certain age is present. Their lifespan is present. Okay, lifespan. Okay, for example, human being 60 years, plant 2 years. And lifespan after what happened, they can die. Okay, so that means every organism they can die. How they can die? After completion of the lifespan, and maybe diseases, maybe accidents due to the death, okay, due to the death, due to the diseases, due to the accident, every organism they can die. Okay, after they can die, how the organism, same type of the organism they can produce. So only same type of the cow they are giving to the calf. Okay, dog giving to the puppy. Okay, human being they are giving to the another human being. Only with the help of the reproduction, life process only. Reproduction is reproduce to the organism. Why the organism they can reproduce? Because due to the death, due to the diseases, due to the accident, every organism they can die. They can repeat the same type of the organism due to the reproduction. Reproduction is the important life process. They can continue to their races, continue to the organisms. There is no reproduction, there is no new organism. Their life cycle, their life stop on that particular only. So that's why reproduction is the important life process. They can continue to their races, they can increase their number of the organism. Okay, if there is no reproduction, that organism to become a extinct species. Extinct species. Okay, so in that plants, especially plants reproduction. In that plant, generally reproduction occurs in the plants, especially for the, okay, three types. One is the vegetative reproduction. Vegetative reproduction. Vegetative reproduction means what? Vegetative reproduction also known as the vegetative propagation. Vegetative propagation. What are the vegetative parts are present? Root, okay, stem and leaves. These are the parts are called, okay, these are the parts are called vegetative parts of the plant. These are the vegetative parts give rise to the new plant. For example, you know very well, carrot, okay, carrot, beetroot, radish. These are the plants they can reproduce with the help of the root. For example, potato, okay, potato, ginger, turmeric, okay, sugar cane. These are the reproduced with the help of the stem. Leaves, bryophyllum, and begonia. These are the plants reproduced with the help of the leaves. This is called vegetative parts give rise to the new plant. That is called vegetative reproduction. Plants occurs. First one is the vegetative reproduction. Second one is the asexual reproduction. Asexual reproduction means especially in the lower plants, like okay, especially for the lower plants, fungi, algae. These are the organisms unfavorable condition. They can reproduce with the help of the spores, sporulation. So asexual reproduction also occurs in that plants. Asexual reproduction also occurs in that plants. Unfavorable condition that plants reproduce with the help of the okay, so sporulation. Third one in this sexual reproduction. So vegetative propagation and asexual reproduction. These are the very primitive reproduction, and sexual reproduction in the plant is the very advanced, okay, very advanced type. That sexual part of the plant is the flower. Flower is turned into the fruit. Fruit is turned into the seed. Seed gives rise to the new plant. In that, especially flower is the reproductive part of the plant. Okay, so sexual reproduction occurs through that plant is the flower only. That flower is turned into the fruit. Fruit is turned into the seed. Seed gives rise to the new plant. That sexual reproduction occurs through the plants is the flower. This is about that. Next, in that especially animals, reproduction occurs in the two types. One is the asexual reproduction. In that asexual reproduction, okay, especially from that okay, unicellular organisms like protozoa, okay, bacteria. These are the organisms reproduce with the help of the asexual reproduction. In the asexual reproduction, do you know binary fission? Okay, and especially amoeba, euglena, paramecium, okay, budding, okay, budding we can see in the hydra and yeast. Okay, third one is the regeneration, okay, planaria, okay. Next, fourth one is the parthenogenesis, parthenocarpy. So these are all the types of the asexual reproduction we can see in the animals. Next, second one is the sexual reproduction. So actually, if you are see that organisms, okay, this is the sexual reproduction is a very advanced type of the reproduction. Male organism produces to the male gamete, female organism produces to the female gamete. That fusion of the male gamete and female gamete is called fertilization. Fertilization takes place, zygote formed, that zygote developed into the embryo, and embryo gives rise to the new baby. 50% of the characters getting from the father, 50% of the characters getting from the mother, some of the characters also getting from the ancestor also. So that's why sexual reproduction is the very advanced type of the reproduction. So these are the characters we can see in that especially all the living organism. So characteristic features of the living things, all the living things need food, all the living organism they can show the growth, okay, living organism respiration can occur, okay, so fish respiratory organ gills, frog respiratory organ is the gills, skin, lungs, respiratory organ is the gills, that is known as the bronchus respiratory system, respiratory organ is the skin, cutaneous respiratory system, reptiles, apes, mammals, that respiratory organ is the lung. That type of the respiratory system is called pulmonary respiratory system. Insects, the largest phylum of the organism is the arthropoda. In that arthropoda, that respiratory organ is the trachea. That type of the respiratory system is known as the tracheal respiratory system. Okay, all the living organisms respond to the stimuli like plants and animals also. Living organism excretion can also occur. Human being, that excretory organ is the kidney. The structural functional unit of the kidney is the nephron. Skin, lungs, liver and large intestine is the accessory excretory organ. So all the living organisms are made up of cell. Cell is the structural and functional unit of the living organism. Cell is the basic unit of the living organism. Cell is the fundamental unit of the living organism. Cell is the body building of the living organism. Next, all the living organisms they can move. Okay, plants are permanent into the soil, but animals they can move to the one place to the another place. So because of the food purpose, shelter purpose, breeding purpose or reproduction purpose, all the reproduction is the characteristic features of the living organism. Okay, every organism they can die due to the diseases, due to the death, due to the accident. So that's why they can produce to the new organism through the reproduction only. Okay, in the plant, three types of the reproductions are present. One is the vegetative reproduction and asexual reproduction and sexual reproduction. Vegetative reproduction and asexual reproduction is the very primitive. Sexual reproduction is the advanced type of the method. In the human being, especially animals also we can see in the asexual reproduction and sexual reproduction. In the asexual reproduction, binary fission, budding, regeneration, parthenocarpy, parthenogenesis, these are all the types of the asexual reproduction, and sexual reproduction is a very advanced type of the reproduction in the animal. So these are the characteristic features of the living organism. Okay. Thank you. Have a great day.